Welcome to the chapter dedicated to JavaScript ES6 Plus Basics and Manipulation of the Document Object Model. This chapter is a decisive step in your journey to becoming a full-stack web developer. Until now, you have discovered how to structure web pages with hypertext markup language and how to style them with cascading style sheets. But these two technologies alone produce static pages. They display content but they do not react to the user. JavaScript is the language that brings interactivity, logic, and dynamic behavior to your web pages. It is the third essential pillar of front-end development, and it is also, through environments like Node.js, a key language for the back-end. JavaScript is one of the most widely used programming languages in the world. It runs directly inside web browsers such as Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and Safari. Every time you click a button that opens a menu, see a form validate your input in real time, or watch content update without reloading the page, JavaScript is at work. Mastering it is not optional for a web developer. It is a fundamental requirement. What does the term ES6 Plus mean? ES6 stands for ECMAScript 6, also known as ECMAScript 2015. ECMAScript is the official standard specification on which JavaScript is based. In other words, JavaScript is a concrete implementation of the ECMAScript standard. The version released in 2015, ES6, introduced a major modernization of the language. It added many features that made the code cleaner, safer, and easier to read and maintain. The plus sign in ES6 Plus means that we also cover the versions released after 2015, ES 2016, ES 2017, and so on, which continue to add useful features every year. In this course, we focus on modern JavaScript, the way it is actually written in professional projects today. Here are the main modern features you will learn to use in this chapter and the ones that follow. The keywords let and const to declare variables. The keyword let declares a variable whose value can change, while const declares a constant whose value cannot be reassigned. These replace the older keyword var, which had confusing behavior. For example, const price equals 100 creates a constant and trying to reassign it later would cause an error. Arrow functions, a shorter and clearer syntax to write functions. For example, instead of writing function add a b, return a plus b, you can write const add equals a, b, equals greater than a plus b. Template literals, which allow you to insert variables directly inside text strings using backticks and the $brace syntax. For example, hello $name, welcome, produces a personalized message. Destructuring, which lets you extract values from arrays or objects in a compact way. For example, const, first name, last name, equals user extracts two properties from an object called user in a single line. Default parameters, the spread operator, and the rest operator, which make functions more flexible. Modern ways to work with arrays such as the methods, map, filter, and reduce, which allow you to transform and process lists of data elegantly. The second major theme of this chapter is manipulation of the document object model. The document object model, often abbreviated as DOM, is a structured representation of your web page that the browser creates in memory when it loads the page. Think of it as a tree. The document is the root, and every hypertext markup language element, paragraphs, buttons, images, lists, is a branch or a leaf of this tree. JavaScript can access this tree, read it, and modify it in real time. This is exactly what makes a page dynamic. With DOM manipulation, you will be able to select elements on the page. For example, document.querySelector.menu selects the first element with the class named menu, and document.getElementById.title selects the element whose identifier is title. Modify the content of elements. For example, element.textContent equals new text changes the text inside an element. Modify styles and classes. For example, element.ClassList.addActive adds a CSS class to an element to change its appearance. Create and remove elements dynamically. For example, document.createElementDiv creates a new element that you can then insert into the page. React to user actions through events. For example, button.addEventListenerClick, handleClick, executes a function every time the user clicks on the button. Events are the foundation of interactivity. Clicks, key presses, form submissions, mouse movements, and more. A concrete example ties these two themes together. Imagine a to-do list application. The user types a task in an input field and clicks an add button. JavaScript listens for the click event, reads the value the user typed, creates a new list item using DOM methods, and inserts it into the visible list on the page. If the user clicks a delete button next to a task, JavaScript removes that item from the DOM. All of this happens instantly, without reloading the page. This is the kind of behavior you will be able to build by the end of this chapter. Why is this chapter so important for your professional goal? As a full-stack web developer, you will build both the visible interface that users interact with and the invisible logic that runs on the server. JavaScript is central to both. On the front end, it powers the user interface. On the back end, through Node.js, it powers the server. The concepts you learn here, such as variables, functions, arrays, objects, and events, are the exact same concepts you will reuse when building REST application programming interfaces, connecting to databases, and automating deployments. Building a solid foundation now will make every later chapter easier. By the end of this chapter, you should be comfortable with the following abilities: declaring and using variables correctly with let and const, writing functions, including arrow functions, working with the fundamental data types of JavaScript, numbers, strings of text, booleans, arrays, and objects, understanding and using modern syntax such as template literals and destructuring, selecting and modifying elements in the document object model, handling user events to make pages interactive. Approach this chapter with patience and practice. Programming is a skill that grows through repetition and experimentation. Read each explanation carefully, type the examples yourself, and try modifying them to see what happens. Making mistakes is a normal and valuable part of learning to code. Take your time, and by the end you will have the confidence to build interactive web pages from scratch. Let us begin this exciting part of your journey toward becoming a full-stack web developer.